to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you for coming on the show today, Wilma.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
So tell everybody what you do.
I have the pleasure of being the executive director for CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Fresno and Madera counties. We're the voice that matters for foster youth.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot that you do too.
It is a lot, and it's so worthwhile if just for one child in our local community.
How do you get involved in that? So to become the executive director, like what were you doing prior to that?
That's an interesting question, because I always said it's like, you know, when you think about, hey, what are you going to do when you grow up? No one says an executive director, a nonprofit, right?
Right.
And it's a matter of just the stones that are laid in front of you in life. And so my education is actually, I'm a business major. I graduated from USC School of Business. Then I was a corporate auditor until, right, it's like, what's fulfilling? And I made the change to go into education for 28 years. And during that time, I had the pleasure of serving as a board member for CASA. And in 2018, when the executive director position opened up, I was like, in 28 years of education, I was like, well, that's good. They're going to find a great executive director. I had no idea on planning at all. But you know how something's laid on your heart and you're kind of wrestling with it, and you think that is such a ridiculous idea, and you just like, no, why would I even think that? And, you know, someone had said to me, where are you most likely to shine your light on? And it was like, at that time, I was over at, it was wonderful. I was over at Fresno Pacific University, you know, outside my office window.
That's my alma mater.
Yeah, so, you know, so outside it's like the steeple, and then there's that water fountain, and it was like, this is just, you know, zen. And it was like, oh, thank you, God. This is where I'm going to retire. This is great. No. So after 28 years, it's like, okay, where are you going to make a difference more likely? And it would be at CASA, where 100% our children and youth are in foster care. So I put my name in the ring, and interviewed and went through all the hoops and was named the executive director in 2018. So I'm coming up on 5 years.
So how long are you going to stay until you retire? Is that kind of role?
You know, yes, as long as I feel productive and healthy, and feel like I can still make a difference and lead a great organization.
So you lead them in placing foster kids with proper care, or when they get into the system?
So that's a really good question, because it is confusing. I was like, what does CASA mean? It is truly like court-appointed special advocates. So our community volunteers, there are just some people who's like, you know, I have some time and I want to make a difference. It doesn't matter what their career is, their age, they just want to make a difference. So that's all of us, right? And so we recruit them and say, you know what, you're going to be assigned one child in foster care. You tell me what gender you want, what age, and there's over 3,000 children in our foster care system, just in Fresno and Madera alone.
So the people that come in, they want a foster kid to live with them and everything.
So actually, it's a little more intense than that. Not just live with them, but because the way the courts are set up, it's like, you know, there are court dates for dependency courts for these kids to go to. Well, when they are removed from the home, the kids are like, what's going on? When do I get to see my parents? Why am I at a different school?
Right.
So that's where we have these volunteers, strictly volunteers, not paid at all. And they're assigned to this one youth. And it's like, you know what? I know it's scary. I know it's confusing. And so they are there to explain all these crazy terms, you know, the abbreviations that everybody has, to explain what's going on, to celebrate their birthdays, to help them through school, to help them through every transition.
So they're not the one taking them in.
No.
They're the ones out, and are they do you talk to them about if you like where you're at? Like if you don't like placement of where you're at, you talk to that. So it's like having an outside person that's kind of like there. That's
right.
Okay.
So it started back in 1997. 1977, and there was a judge in Washington, and he's like, "How do I make these decisions about where these kids are going to be placed? Where they should go?" And he says, "I'm going to form, some volunteers to help them be the eyes and ears for the courts." So that's where that one-on-one connection, either one foster youth or one sibling set, because sometimes they're separated, and just to say, hey, the one constant adult, to just be able to listen and talk to them and basically advocate for them. And so in Fresno, we started back in 1996, so coming up on 27 years. And then 10 years later, we opened up an office in Madera.
Wow.
Yes. So we don't serve all 3,000 children because a lot of times it's a quick turnaround, a reunification, or they, have relatives, right, that they can stay with. We're assigned from the courts to the courts the hard cases, like the ones where there aren't any family members around, or they've been in the foster care system for a long time and they may age out. So we're there when they're graduating high school and we're clapping it off and they're walking across the stage. Just being that caring adult to, right, so like COVID, to like explain to them what's going on and why they were being sequestered or, at home, and just explaining it. And if anything, right, we say we're the ears that listen, the voice that listen, but we're also the ears to just listen to how they're feeling, right? To say you matter.
So isn't it hard? I mean, do sometimes they want to actually adopt the kid that they're assigned to, or is there like laws against that? Tell us that, 'cause I'm sure that happens.
Yes, and that has, they do. They come attached to them, and if that happens, they can't be an advocate and also be the resource parent. So they would resign from being a volunteer, and they would apply to be the resource parent, or and then eventually adopt. That actually has happened on a few occasions.
Wow.
Right?
I imagine you kind of just get attached, and then you don't want to see them go into a bad home.
Right. So, but there's just it's just a hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever said that I've ever done. And remember, I've been an auditor checking books, and 28 years in education from a lot of grade levels and in administration. But truly, it's been just a percentage of at-risk children. This job is 100%. And
Wow.
when I hear of stories like our advocates are just so fabulous, and it's not easy because the stories are hard. One advocate, journeying along the life of a youth who had cancer, and she was there ringing the bell. We have another one where we have a partnership with the city of Fresno, and our kids are getting employed through the mayor's initiative. And these kids are coming back as like, hey, look at my name badge. I just got fingerprinted and I'm an employee. I mean, just to see them blossom and to change the trajectory of how we met them to where they're going now.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then do they have a say too? Because you said it's court appointed. So if you do hear that your foster kid, the one that you're responsible for, is in a home they don't like, what hoops do they have to go to try to kind of get them out of that?
We work very closely with the Department of Social Services and their social worker. So there's the social worker, and then what we do as they truly are advocates. And how they became court appointed was that they had to go, the hardest thing was they had to go through like a 35-hour training with us.
I bet.
And it is like after a full day's work, and they come and sit with us from 6 to 8:30 and then all day on Saturday. When they finish, though, they are very familiar with the system of, like, they have the perspective of the foster youth, they have the perspective of the parents, and the parents sometimes, we all say it's just a temporary time of when they made a decision, of which when they realize they lost their child to the child welfare system, they want them back, and they work hard.
So most of them do.
Yes,
That you deal with
because
most of the
it's,
kids.
and it's sometimes, again, right, It's that little segment of time where choices were not of the best, and when they realize, oh my goodness, what do I need to do to get my child back? And they work hard to do that. Sometimes it's being reunified with the family because they do everything they need to do. And if you think about it, right, most children, and no matter what age, it's home. Wherever their family was, that's home, no matter what the circumstances are. And I think that's what we strive to do. It's like, what's best for the child? And parents, you know, if they can work at, sometimes it's neglect, and you think about what life, how stressful life is right now, that's neglect in terms of like they're trying to just hold it together, to make the payments of the rent, and what are we going to do? The car is no longer working. How do I get to a job, and how do I pay the bills? It's just compounding, and sometimes it's not abuse, it's neglect, because it's, you know, how do we?
I heard a lot of that happened during COVID. How is that? Because I heard, you know, everyone had to have a Zoom school, and a lot of these parents are working and they couldn't be there. So what did you see happen in COVID? Was there a rise? What was your experience?
You know, in fact, wow, it was the mental health piece that we saw. And we shifted because we typically serve anywhere between infants to the age of 21. And it was almost like, you know, a third in serving. What we quickly did, right, we all know the infamous day of March 16th, where, okay, all right, we are, as of Monday, everyone's remote. What does it mean? And I think everyone's just like, okay, let's figure this out working remotely. But for the kids, it was like, what's going on? Why aren't I going back to school? Where's my routine?
Everyone felt punished. Yeah.
That's what we do. It's all kind of, and so imagine if us youth, it's like, okay, so I don't get to see my teachers and my friends, and what's going on? So we quickly mobilized, and hats off to the community, hats off to our advocates and my staff, where it was like, what do they need? And just generous people, the Cashians, they were the first ones to reach out and was like, hey, so what do your kids need? And the schools were great because they said, everyone, let's get them a laptop so they can work at home. So we came in and was like assessing this. Our kids needed a portable desk, because if they're in a home with several children, right, they're at a dining room table, and then it's like, hey, 4 o'clock, pack up and move. And it's like, wait, I'm in the middle of something. So the Cashians were able to provide enough portable tables. It's like the ones that we grew up in, right? But it folds up to like 6 inches.
Nice.
And then they also allowed us to purchase padded chairs, because they're now sitting on the tush for school for 6 hours. Again, fold up. A mood light, you know, like in Washington, how it's like, okay, you need to get some natural light here, and weighted blankets. So just to have that comfort. Why this was so important is like, so what's with the portable thing? Because sometimes our kids are moved from one resource home, and we formerly called it foster homes, right? But they call it resource homes. So if they're having to move from that home to another one, then we wanted them to be able to take their school with them, the desk, the chair, the light, and the weighted blanket for comfort.
Oh, wow. You guys did so much. You guys thought of everything.
We did. And you know what it is? I don't know necessarily thought of everything, but we listened to what the kids were saying, and we looked, and it was like, it's more than a laptop. It's more than anything else. It's like trying to make it all work. And you know, with some of our advocates, it's teaching them, it's like, hey, we're going to show you how to text, and, you know, some of these apps, you can do the games and talk to them. It certainly was a transition for everyone. And still, the advocates were like, okay, well, we can like order food, their favorite foods, and you stay on the steps in the front, and I'll sit on my car hood, and we'll just chat. They still visited their youth. I like over 10,000 hours with my advocates. And we have about 280 advocates who donated like 12,000 hours last year.
Wow.
Hours, yes. And, you know, that doesn't include the mileage and, you know, the food and just time, the gift of time, priceless.
And so you kind of connect the kids to the advocate. And then what about when they get to the home? Do you guys have any, or you're not really connecting that part?
No, so that's where our
The social worker
social
kind of comes in and does all
workers,
that.
yes. And so our advocates are still going there like once a month, if not more, to take the child out and spend some time with them. During COVID, texting them at least once a week and seeing how they're doing. So even though they're placed in the resource home, that's where we come in and we can still, there's still that bond. And it's interesting, the bond is there to the point where we actually had a foster youth who became an adult. And the advocate, who was no longer the advocate because she grew up and aged out, and her husband walked her down the wedding aisle.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm. So it's just there, and it's like, oh, you're kind of like my surrogate parent. Yeah, it was the mom, and it's pretty amazing, some of the stories, just one story at a time, and to hear it every time, it's just heartwarming.
And you connect the advocate with the child.
We do, yes. At the training, we'll say, hey, so, you know, tell me what is, we do have children. We work with school districts because they can identify the foster youth. We work with the judges. We work with social workers, and we make a difference.
And do people ever not want to be advocates anymore? They just like do they usually wait at least till the child graduates that they were assigned before getting a new one? What do they do often?
That's a good question. So we say, you know, this child may be abandoned already so many times, right, and removed and stuff. So please don't abandon this child, because that's just one more painful hurt, right? So we say at least 18 months. And it's like, oh, why 18 months? When they're 0 to 5, basically, it used to be that was the average in which they were either reunified or adopted. Mm-hmm. The older children may be a little bit longer, but we say, you know what, we invest so much into you, and the kids connect, right? So please don't leave after 18 months. And no one is like marking on the calendar, hey, 18 months, I'm done.
I would just wonder sometimes too if people their spouses get a job somewhere else and they get relocated. So I imagine sometimes some of that happens.
That absolutely happens. And especially during COVID, you know, just being safe, right? And a lot of people did relocate to the coast. But for the most part, we've had some really dedicated advocates, that's for sure. But you're right, there is, you know, the transition sometimes. And then what we do is, you know, we try and backfill to make sure that this child and youth will have their advocate.
That's amazing. You guys do so many great things for the community. How can we help out people that don't want to be an advocate but maybe want to donate or support? What are some ways the community can help out?
Oh, that's such a good question. So yes, I would love to have advocates because we have so many youth. But if not that, we're a nonprofit. And, you know, we just got out of COVID, and we do what we do based on the community support. So by, you know, becoming a $5 recurring donor, that significantly helps us.
Oh, so like, what do you get, once a month, $5? What's a $5 donor?
Right, yeah.
Is that something that you guys have?
We do.
Okay.
Yes. And the other thing is we have some fabulous events that are coming up.
Oh, let's do that. What do we got going on?
Right, so coming up May 18th, we're going to be at Fig Garden Village, and the Marie Wilson Band will be there. We'll have a booth, and we'll have raffle items, so purchase a ticket and help support us. All proceeds will go to CASA and the foster youth we serve. Then mark your calendars for Saturday, May 27th. It is Memorial Day weekend on Saturday, and we have a partnership with Wildwater Adventures in Clovis. So typically the tickets are like $54. We're able to sell it for $30. And so it's a fun, and you know, Fresno summers, and it's going to be warm. So for $30 versus $54, you can purchase a ticket, help support CASA, and have a great time at the Wildwater Park.
Love it. Okay.
Yes. And then September 8th, you know, you want crab feed? 700 people at the wonderful home of Matt and Serena Garza. I believe it's going to be our 24th anniversary. Crappy, it sells out.
Oh, I love crab. That sounds amazing. It sounds delicious.
It is amazing. And it is just a fun time. It is almost like people have come on a regular basis that it was like, it's their annual reunion.
I love it. So where can we purchase all the tickets and all this stuff?
We have a website, and it's, in fact, we just relaunched it. And you can just go to www.casafresnomadera.org.
I love that. You are so amazing. Thank you so much for coming on my show today and sharing all this with us.
Well, thank you for just giving us the opportunity to share more about CASA, and hopefully we'll be able to get more advocates to help our local foster youth.
I think people just need to become aware. When they become aware,
Yes.
they're happy to help.
So thank you.
Thank you. Coming on the show today, Taylor.
Yes, no problem. I'm excited.
But you're not like a stranger to cameras and all that.
No, not exactly.
So tell us about your experience. What have you been up to?
So I do acting. I have acted in lots of local commercials and some local theater as well. What else? I have run a YouTube channel. That's been really fun. And I also work at Blair Media, which is a video production company. And I am going to branch out from acting soon and compete in my first pageant, which I'm really excited for.
I don't know how you guys do it, because that would make me so nervous, a nervous wreck. And then what made you decide to get into pageantry?
I think I watched so much Toddlers and Tiaras as a little girl, and I wanted to be in one of those pageants so bad. And so finally, once I got old enough to like make my own decisions, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. I'm just going to have fun with it. Whatever happens, happens. But even just the process so far has been so fun and so rewarding.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do your parents think about it? Were they not on board? Is that why you waited to be an adult?
No. My parents are on board.
Okay, because you said I had to wait till I made my own decisions. I'm like,
I mean, I didn't have to wait, but I did end up waiting. But I'm glad I did it at this age. I feel like it's a good age for me to kind of have my own say in what I'm doing for the pageant, you know.
And you're like an adult now, so that gives you a little bit. So you, we don't know the dynamics of when it starts or ends, like 15 to 19-ish?
Yeah, so they
like
have
that.
like an older teens division and a younger teens division.
Oh,
and then
okay.
they have like the Miss, the Misses, like all the older divisions as well. It's very inclusive, this pageant, lots of ages.
So who would you be competing against?
Against?
Yeah, like is it as far as like jurisdiction, is it like just like Fresno, Clovis?
This is a California-wide
So
pageant.
it's all California. So
Yes.
it's not just his West. So that really encompasses all of California. Oh my goodness.
So it's Miss West Coast. So it's
Oh,
the
you're going
entire
big, girl.
California, yeah.
Oh my god. So how does that even decision come about? You're like, okay, I want to do pageants, and you look at all of them, you look at the criteria. Where did you decide I'm going to do this one for like all of California?
Well, I chose Miss West Coast because it's a very beginner-friendly pageant.
Okay.
They really, hold your hand and walk through. The pageant director, Tara, she is amazing. Anytime that I have a question, I just text her like, Tara, what do you think of this dress? Tara, what do you think of this? And she's like on it. So I love her so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
So do you get like how do you call it? Almost like do you have like an agent particularly like somebody for you that tells you everything, or just her? She's like the coordinator for all of them, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have anyone just for you that tells
No.
you all the decision, helps you with it?
No, I don't.
Gosh, that's so much work, girl.
I know.
Wow.
Well, I have my momager and my dadager who help me out a little bit.
Okay. What do people usually do in that situation? Is there kind of like somebody that they go to for advice, or is it really kind of just the parents that have to help out?
It is a lot of the parents, but you can also hire a pageant coach to help you
Okay,
out.
so you can. Okay, so there is something like that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that?
I do want to do that, but I'm waiting until the pageant gets a little bit closer.
Okay.
Yeah. Which it's coming up soon, so I'm starting to look out for that kind of opportunity now.
Well, it's kind of cool that you're growing up in the YouTube age. So now it's
Yeah.
like, do you watch a lot of those videos of like, to see how you're supposed to walk, talk, wear, all
Yes.
that?
Oh yes, I've been binge watching all of those like beauty pageant tutorial and tips and tricks videos on YouTube. Yeah, they've been a great resource for me.
So what's it like now in the beginning phases? Is there anything, do you guys do any like practice rounds or anything?
Yeah, so what we do is we have these group coaching sessions is what Tara, the director, calls them. So
Okay.
basically we will all get on a Zoom meeting together and we'll talk about how we're going to answer our interview questions, our walking patterns for the stage, what to expect on the day of. Like I said, it's very beginner friendly.
And is that like with other girls that you're competing against too? You guys
Yeah.
are all in this?
Yes, it's by division. So I was on a Zoom with several other girls from the teen division, and they all seem very sweet. So I'm
So it's a
excited to
teen
meet them.
division, and that's for all of California. Wow.
Yes,
How
it's a lot.
many are they going to choose when all is said and done? Like, does it go from like, okay, top 10, top 5, top 3, and then you're in that competition? How's it go?
I'm not exactly sure. I know, of course, there is, the top winner of each division, but then there's also some smaller, like, not necessarily titles, but like prizes that you can win. So I'm not exactly sure about that, but.
And what are some of the prizes, like long-term goals? I know some people get like college scholarships, some money, you get to tour and stuff. Well, what are some of the things in it for you guys?
Well, yes, you can win money. You can win, there's several different sponsors that have teamed up with the pageant, so they're offering either free services or discounts for the winners as part of their prize package. And then also the main reason that everyone wants to do it is because you can get money to put back into the charity of your choice or into the cause of your choice.
What's your charity going to be?
Well, my thing that I do is reading. I love reading. I think reading is kind of what helped me to skip grades, and my mom was always so adamant about reading is so important because it helps you to be able to learn all the other things that you need to learn in the future.
Were you homeschooled?
Yeah.
Well, right on. Me too, girl. So and I love
Awesome.
reading too. So I
Yeah.
love that. That's really awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
it gives you that like.
Yeah.
So that's where you're so ambitious, and you have
Yes.
like kind of like a career job now almost.
Yeah. So I started a little like social media initiative called Back to the Books, where basically I kind of encourage teens and young adults to, put down their phone for a while and get reading. And I want to move into more like donation things, donating books to charities that give books to kids, because we want to get them young, right? We want to start the young generation reading and not on iPads.
So do you find that to be a big problem, like that
Yes.
with a lot of people in your generation? There's not reading.
Yes. I know. We always talk about, iPad kids, the little kids who are glued to the iPads, but I mean, there's iPad teens and iPad young adults too, and it's a big problem because it causes stress, being on the on the phone or on the tablet for too long at a time.
So what do you prefer, the old-fashioned book or like an audio book or an ebook?
So I go between ebooks and like an old-fashioned paper book. I mean, there's something about just an old-fashioned paper book that just feels so good. But then for like space reasons, because I live in a tiny little college dorm, I do like getting my little ebooks on my school iPad.
Just for space, yeah. You can't just
yeah.
be loading it up.
Yeah, which I'd rather be reading on the iPad than just watching YouTube.
So where are you going to school at?
Fresno State,
And then what's your major?
marketing.
Oh, and so you have the perfect job for that.
I know. Yeah, it's been really great. I've been able to, learn the real world side of that at the same time as I'm learning the concepts that like they teach in the classes, which is really good because it helps me to remember it for the future instead of just forgetting it.
So when is the big competition?
It is in June, I believe June 24th.
It's
Is that
coming
the Saturday?
up. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
I know.
Wow. And so what are the things you're going to have to do besides look cute and pick out outfits? You have to have like talent and stuff, right? And do all that?
We need to have well, first of all, yes, we need the beautiful gown for our evening gown part of it. And then we also need to have sportswear and create a little, sportswear walking routine. And so that's going to be, a cute tank top, leggings, that sort of thing. And then we also need to practice our interview questions because there will be an interview with the judges.
And what are some of the like questions they gave you that were like maybes?
The main thing that they're going to be asking about is our cause. What if
Okay.
you win Teen Miss West Coast, what do you want to put money toward? So that's like the big question that everyone's going to get asked by the judges.
So no trick, and there are not going to be some crazy trick questions.
No. You write down your answers ahead of time, you send them off to the judges, and then the judges ask you questions based on what you've written.
I love that. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's
So
great.
talent, you don't have to have talent, or you have to do a talent competition thing?
No, we're not having
Oh,
a talent
thank
for this
goodness.
one.
That'd be a lot of, that's a
I know,
stress
that would be a
lifted.
lot. Yeah.
And so, so that day when you do the competition, that's when they determine a winner?
Yes, it's going to be that same day.
And you have no idea how many people are competing?
I don't. I would imagine it's a lot because it's the whole California area.
And then they don't have like, what's the date, that the cutoff date where they're like, you have to know you're competing by this time?
I don't know. I signed up pretty early, so I.
So how long did you know you were doing this for?
I believe I signed up back in December.
Okay, so you've had some prep time. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a few months already.
Oh my goodness. So what do your friends say, your peers and everything, what do they think about all this?
Well, back when I was thinking about, like, maybe I'm going to do it, maybe I'm not, I kind of asked some of my friends, what if I competed for Miss West Coast? They're like, yes, you should do it. You're going to do amazing. So I think they're all very supportive, and they're all just as excited as I am because I'm filling them in on, like, okay, this is what's happening next. This is our next step. And they're always excited to hear about it.
And so your parents, you said they've been really supportive as
Yes,
well.
yeah, they've been helping me out through the whole
So what are they
process.
saying? What are some of the stuff that they're saying behind the scenes?
Well, my mom already said she wants to come with me to get my gown because she likes to help me pick out everything. And then my dad's going to come with me to the pageant. My mom probably will too. But yeah, they've been really amazing and really helpful and supportive.
So any thoughts on the color of the gown? I want to know everything, girl.
I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking maybe green. My prom dress was green and it looked beautiful. And so maybe I want to keep going with that. I don't know.
I like your bright colors. That's already like a great.
Thank you. I do like bright colors a lot.
And then, is there a tour for you if you do win? Because I know with a lot of these, they kind of have like a tour. What are your responsibilities if you win?
I'm not exactly sure if we have a tour, but I do know that we would filter into a higher up pageant, and that's probably where we would end up getting our next responsibilities. Yeah.
Did you make any friends already from that? I know you said you kind of all Zoomed together. Did you guys start following each other on IG, and how does that work?
No, I haven't made friends through it yet, but I mean, I'm sure when pageant weekend comes around, we're going to have a day that we'll all be rehearsing. So the pageant's on a Sunday. We'll be rehearsing on a Saturday, so I'm sure I'll be able to make friends during that Saturday.
Where's the pageant going to be at?
It's going to be in Santa Clara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, down there.
And what have you learned are the pageant do nots?
Pageant do not.
Besides tripping.
Yeah, don't trip. Probably don't get scared that the judges are going to throw in trick questions because they won't. A lot of girls freak themselves out over that, it seems. So don't do that. What else? Don't trash talk other girls, even if you think they're not listening, because it will get back around to them and it's just not nice. And what else? I've also heard that you shouldn't get your dress from David's Bridal. I don't exactly know why. But that's just something people say, so we'll see.
Well, how is it in this age? Do people need to get like designer gowns? Is that something, or they said it's not important?
No, I think the point is just you want something that the color looks good on you and that the fit is appropriate for your age division. So like for the teen division, we want something that's not super, not super skin tight. And
You don't want to be too super sexy because
Yeah,
you are
exactly.
in the teen division.
Yeah,
older
exactly.
teens. I get
Yeah.
that. Oh, wow. That's just going to be like so nerve-wracking. So what about do you have any people that have already gone through the process that you talked to? Any friends that you've made in that field?
No, I'm really just kind of jumping into this. No one else in my friend group has done this.
And then is there a chance to meet people like that? Because they always have yours prior. I know they come to the competition, but have you talked to like the director and saying, hey, I kind of want to get some advice from a former contestant. Do you have anybody's info, or you haven't?
I haven't done that. It's probably a good idea though. I should think about doing that.
It could be a good idea unless they get in your head. It's like, but I think they're pretty nice, and they'll be like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
So then what are some of your long-term goals?
Long-term goals, well, like I said, I'm studying marketing, but I have just so many things that I want to do with marketing. But I mean, I'm 18. I guess I have a lot of life in front of me that I can do those things. But I would like to maybe buy some Airbnb properties and rent those out and market those. I would like to make a marketing consulting business, and I would also like to make a talent management company. And yeah, those are like my 3 main goals, and we'll see where else it takes me as well.
And then you said you have a YouTube channel. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I do. I haven't been making as many videos as usual, but I basically just make college life videos about little vlogs of what I'm doing. I love making my exam week vlogs. It always gets crazy during exam week. There's always stuff going on that is not exams. So yeah.
Really? Like what?
Like, I don't even know. Things have a habit of popping up on exam week, like events or, oh, someone's surprise birthday party. Come on, it's time to go. So, yeah.
So you got to be really prepared for those.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a college life YouTube channel. What's it called?
It's just my name, Taylor Quintanar, Quintanar.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy it.
And when did you start that one?
I started that one back in, I believe it was 2020 during the pandemic.
Oh,
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, I was just bored in my house, so.
Were you going to school at that point or not
No.
yet?
No, I was,
Finishing up high school?
yeah. That was I believe my first video was called Day in the Life of a 15-year-old 12th grader, I think. So that's where I kind of showed them my, like, pandemic homeschool day in the life. So yeah, I was just finishing up my senior year at that point.
And what's the theater background that you have that you were talking about?
I did theater for several years with California Arts Academy, and my first show was Aladdin Jr., and I got to play Jasmine, and that will like stay
You
with
look
me
like a
forever.
Jasmine. That's perfect
Thank
for you. Oh
you.
my goodness.
Yeah, and then my last show with them was Legally Blonde, and I got to play Brooke Wyndham, who's like the jump roping queen of everything. She's great.
And then acting, you said some short films as well?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, I was in 2 short remote film projects, which were, one of them centered around the life of actors during the pandemic. So I got to kind of share how the pandemic had affected the business and everything, and about how I was self-taping and that sort of stuff. And then another was a PSA video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was a PSA video?
It was for like healthy boundaries with children, if that makes sense.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Was that fun?
Yeah, it was.
Did you get to do some improv on that, or you just read kind of teleprompter?
It wasn't a teleprompter. It was film at home, so I basically had to memorize the script beforehand, and then
And you're probably good at that, huh?
I like to think that I am.
What do you learn at Blair Media? At your job there? Is it like a job or an internship?
Yeah, it's a job. So I'm helping out with some of the marketing tasks over there. So a lot of, writing articles for the website and making sure that those articles are ranking in Google. And I'm running Shoot Stop Videos newsletter. And so that's been a whole nother thing I've had to learn is about newsletter marketing, which is something that they don't teach a lot of in school.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to start reading that. Don't tell the guys I don't read it already, but
I won't.
because
No, it's safe with me.
love them at Blair Media. So that's so cool. So
Thank you.
So when you have questions about stuff that comes up, do you see it feeding into each other with like college and working there?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so tell us about that.
It's always overlapping. There's
Right.
always. I have a marketing lecture that I go to right before I head off to work on Mondays and Wednesdays, and there's always something in that lecture that I can take with me to work and I can apply it. And it's a different concept every single time, but I always find a way to kind of weave it into what I'm doing at work. And
I bet they have no idea, huh?
No, probably not. I don't think I've told them.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. We gotta follow you, girl. Where can we follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Taylor Quintanar and on YouTube, Taylor Quintanar. Yeah.
And there's no way we have input in if you win or not, huh? We just
Sadly,
How do we
no.
support you?
It's not democratic. To support me, follow me on my Instagram. I'll probably have some opportunities for GoFundMe soon to raise money to donate books.
Well, I'll buy a vote for Taylor Swift if you make those. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
I will buy that. I'll buy your merch if you do
I
any
need
of
to
that.
start making merch. That'd be so fun.
So this charity that you're doing, is it already existing or did you start the charity?
I started it. I wouldn't call it like a full-blown charity. It's just a small campaign that I'm doing just on my social media right now. But I would love to grow it into something.
So if you win,
bigger.
that's what you're, because
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
your, wow. And I
Yes.
love that. That's gotta be a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming on my show. And yes, let us
Yes.
know the information. We'll follow you so then we can see how we can support you that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
You do a lot of cool stuff, and I love it because you have Fresno roots, but then you lived in Arizona.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of things, and then since I've been back here, I've been trying to reconnect with my family, the Newsomes out here in Fresno. But yeah, getting into the real estate and doing films, this is like all new to me. It's all new, but I'm loving it though. Meeting a lot of people.
So real estate, how'd you get into that? Because I love what you do
Real estate.
in real estate.
Yeah, that was actually that was how I got into that. That was pretty crazy. So what it was, I heard about, I was thinking about getting my real estate agent's license and all that stuff. Like, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of stuff to do. And then I've been hearing.
And there's a lot of realtors too.
Yeah,
We're swamped with that.
So yeah, so much competition. But so I was like, what's the thing that I can do? I want to still give value to people and like still help them out, but I don't want to have to like just go through the basic thing and have so much competition. So I started hearing about wholesaling, like on YouTube and everything. But they kind of put it out there like more of a get rich quick scheme. So I was like always hesitant to do it. And I was like, I don't want to do that, yeah. But I actually tried it. I tried it. It was a couple of what they call gurus that they would send courses out to people to come try it out and everything. But luckily in Arizona, I stayed there, and there's a guy named Pace Morby that actually stayed in Arizona that I ended up connecting with, and then Trey Norton. So they connected me to a whole bunch of other buyers, sellers, and everything like that I needed to. So luckily, I just randomly tried it, loved what they said, and I think it was like a real estate agent. Yeah, it was a real estate agent that sent me some pocket listings, and I was just like, okay, whatever those are, I'll just take them. And then he was like, yeah, see what these are distressed, need work and all that stuff.
What is it? So what's a pocket listing then?
A pocket listing from a real estate agent, I believe it was just like, say, under like distressed properties or just something that's been on the market for more than 60 days.
Something that's hard to sell?
Yeah, hard to sell.
Oh boy, who wants to do that? You offered up to do that?
Yeah, so yeah, like, cause to be honest, like what it was is like most people, they don't know that they can just sell their properties really on their own, but if they do happen to use a real estate agent, that agent kind of doesn't really do the best. They want to try to get the most money, most of them.
Right. I understand that. You want to get the biggest bang for the buck. And then also they have a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're trying to,
And it's just like, instead of doing that, I'm like, just send me your pocket listings, the ones that you're having problems with, and I'll see if I can, do something with it. Because I have like, really you just reach out to the other real estate agents, and it's either agents or cash buyers, what they call them, and somebody's just that's wanting to put their money somewhere and like make it grow, invest, So I just look for the criteria, found it, and sent some. But with his deals, that's all I did was just pretty much just send it to another agent, and at the time another wholesaler, just to make sure I was doing it right. And I didn't believe it was going to work anyways. I was like,
so you just wanted to see what happened, okay?
I'm just throwing it out there, and then lo and behold, like I think it was like three and a half weeks later, I got a text from the agent saying, hey, I can't do it. I can't pay you like normally. And I was like, I didn't know what he meant by that. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I'm still going to wire you some stuff. And I was like, all right, yeah, whatever that is, send me your Cash App. And there was something else he asked me to send, and I sent. So I sent it to him. I was like, yeah, whatever, just see what it does. And then lo and behold, like 3.5 weeks later, my first check, it was like, my first wire was, I believe it was like 5,000 something or whatever. And I was just like, whoa.
You're like, what was I supposed to
get?
I
was like, what is this? And then like 2 weeks later, he was like, yeah, I still owe you more. And I was like, what are you talking about?
And you didn't do much.
Not at all. Like, if I would have known about this, like say in high school, like it's something that like I would have been like, yeah, we're breaded, we're good. With the family, like, because that's just, this real estate is for sure like one thing that I know, like you can change lives, like not only my own, like, but I can do like a lot for other people. Once I started to get that momentum going, like, and once I can do that, it's just like no stopping, like.
So that's what you are. You're a wholesale realtor. Is that what you're called?
Yeah, real estate, and they call it wholesale real estate investor, pretty much.
You're a wholesale real estate investor. So do you work with a company or you work by yourself?
Oh, I have my own. I've started my own company.
So what's it called?
The New Deal Investments.
But it's just you, or?
Right now it's me, and then I partner, say that my end buyers, like, or my cash buyers, I partner with everyone pretty much around the United States, the U.S. I can partner with people out of the country if they wanted to look for properties. I can just ask them what's the criteria, what they're looking for, what they're trying to make on the property, and then I just find specifically that. And then it makes it a lot easier.
What would be the advantage of I'm looking, so you're more if I'm looking to sell, not if I'm looking to buy, or both?
Both. I can probably work in both.
So why should I go with you over like a known realtor that sells this and that? Well, what are the perks?
I would say, I'm still new to the realtor thing, but I would say working with the investor wholesaler, really from what I'm gathering, it's just we save a lot more money. Like instead of having to post our say list a property with an agent, which they would get a commission for out of the actual funds of the property or the sold price or whatever, we wouldn't be getting any of that. Like we would make our margin or our profit pretty much based around like what, like how soon, or what another investor or someone that's actually going to try to come in and say, they call it burr, they call it flip, or whatever that end buyer is looking for. Like we're just looking for that. So the property price has nothing to do with what we make at all. But dealing with an agent, that's when you gotta like, oh, he's gonna look at, oh, I have to like make sure I get either on the closing commission or I forgot how the commissions work, but I know they get 3%, up to 3% on one side, and then say 3% on the other side. But if you let them handle, like say, even if we're working with real estate agents, like they're sending us deals, if we want to work with them and get the best deal, we just say, hey, close for us. If we send you deals, or even if you send us deals, close for us, and that'll make it look like it's a lot less strenuous on you, I guess, to try to like negotiate with, try to haggle and then still try to make it work for you as a real estate agent, but also for the real purpose, which is the sellers, so.
So if I do buy one of your listings, then how are you making money off of that? Like if I buy that?
And so like our list, like how I would make money is pretty much like, say if you wanted your house sold, for example, like if you want to make sell your house for $100K,
okay,
and then say you can sell it. It's been hard to sell and everything like that. And then so you come to me, I'm like, what can I do?
Can I have Can I have a real estate already that I'm working with that I don't want to use them because they weren't selling it and then switch to you, or like how does that work?
Usually that, from what I'm gathering, and I'm just learning from Arizona to California, but I'm thinking it's really whatever the contract that you have between the agent is. But I'm thinking like the normal is 30 days.
Right.
Normally.
Okay.
So
you'd like me to be severed ties? You don't want to come in and do?
Yeah, I would definitely, or just like say. Like even if you found, I feel like if you found a wholesaler while you're still in, say with an agent, I would just say work, make sure everyone is involved, so it's all fair. It's no like, oh, I'm gonna get this best deal or anything like that. Because if the agent like puts his time out there to try to help you, to try to find something, he's putting a lot of time into doing it. So like I'm not trying to like hate on the agent at all, but it's just like me, like people like me, like we don't have everything that an agent has, so we're gonna really go do whatever we can to help somebody. Most of us. Some people are really money driven, but to me, I'm just like, I want to find a problem, I want to fix a problem. And with real estate, that's like one thing for sure, is like that's what we can do, is like I want to either help somebody sell their house because they something happened. It's usually a situation that happens or whatever it is, or I want to find a person buy a house because they want something. They want something that they want something that everybody else wants. Like all America wants, they want to be a homeowner. So, and what I'm gathering is like, it's not as hard to be a homeowner these days. You don't have to go the traditional route. You can it's like different ways you can like kind of buy into someone else's bad situation in a way.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard, because a lot of like realtors I've gone to, I'm like, what about like renting for, just to rent apartments or condos or townhouses? Because I lived in LA for like 15 years, and we had realtors that were helping us just do stuff like that. Yeah. And here you can't have realtors. And they said no, and they said, but honestly, if you're able to do that, we could pretty much find you a place that you're able to actually own. So you're on that train where it's like anybody can own, right?
And it's like, anybody can own, and because like long as I know it's like work history that they look for, but it's all types of ways you can get into real estate, like either owning or say being an investor yourself. But like owning wise, it's a lot of rent to owns, lease own options.
And that's what I had that too in LA. So that that's coming back, where you do have a lot of rent to owns and lease owns.
Oh yeah, like what was it? It's like, because they call it rent to own, but it's like lease options subject to.
Because I don't know anybody else that does that here. Because everyone always asks me about how I did that back in the day. So that's coming back, where people are kind of doing that.
I think that's always been here. It's just like, again, like say,
people just didn't know.
Because it's just like when you go on a Zillow, Redfin, or Realtor or something like that. Like you would expect just to be working with an agent, But normally, if you type in FSBO, which is for sale by owner, you'll talk directly to the owner, so you can like waive all the fees, and because they're not paying an agent, they're not paying an agent at all. They're just like posting their own thing. So
if I'm selling, you were saying earlier, if I was selling a house for $100K and I couldn't sell it for a while, I come to you. What do you do from there?
So I would say, because normally people would come at you with a conventional loan, like they would want to like say have to come in with a down payment, make sure they get approved by a bank and all that other stuff. And if they do happen to qualify, then that's when you can get the offer that you're asking. But say with us, we come in with cash. So you can be like, okay, we know that it's worth $100K and you want $100K. Okay, cool. We know that when it's fixed up and resold and everything, like, or rehabbed, what they call it, it's going to actually resell for, say, 130 or something like that. So if I just want to happen to make $5,000, $10,000 out of deals, even 20,000, if I can, depend on how I'm gonna use the property myself, either to give to an end buyer or just to fix or
Oh,
flip
so
myself.
you're getting it. I'm getting my money, and that's the last I see. So,
So-
whatever else happens on that end is.
Yeah. So pretty much
Okay.
you sell the house to me like a normal sell.
So
would
I'm
go.
getting what I want, and then that's
Yep.
your problem.
And you don't have to deal with any
Okay.
realtor fees. You don't have to pay anything extra. No side stuff. Like whatever you have in the purchase agreement contract, that's for you. Let's say again, how I make my money is like I would find a end buyer looking for a certain type of property, and then I would just ask them like say, or if I had the property first, say the purchase agreement contract with the first property for $100K, and I want to make $5,000 to $10,000, so I would find a buyer that's willing to pay that because they know, say if the ARV again was like 135, 140 on a $100K house, then I know how much it's worth. He does too. I'm not trying to fix up on it. I just want to help this person out and also make what I want to make.
And that's
So-
quick too. You don't have to wait for.
Exactly.
So then, what if I'm okay? So you answer the question as a seller. So what about the question for a buyer?
For a buyer,
So if I come at you and I'm like, I'm looking for this, and this is my budget and everything, what do you do from there?
I would say, so me personally, I would be like, so are you having a problem with, like, say, going to a traditional bank? Like, if that's the case, then the first thing I would do is, like, if so, then I would be like, okay, let's find a person, like, an actual seller or owner of a house. Like, so, and let's try to see if they would be willing to sell on subject to, or, you can
So it'd be like my own loan, and like if I'm looking
Where
to
they
buy,
would-
right? So I don't have to go through a bank.
Yeah.
So I can go, okay.
Yeah, so like, and then most people, like if they own the house, like free and clear, then that's when they pretty much become the bank. So like another person that's
Right.
having problems, like trying to find a property or something like that, they can go to that person and be like, hey, I've been working for this amount of years. It doesn't qualify for a normal bank, but I want to come in with this amount of down if whatever's needed. Then if you can do that, then totally fine. You can do that without having to go through a traditional bank.
So that's how you could sell it to people with bad credit.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can
Got
work on
it.
yeah, you can work on your own credit while you're doing it, but it's so many ways. Like it's so many ways that you can like say work with real estate in general, not even just with properties itself, but just like say commercial properties, land. Like it's so many ways you can like actually say make money with it, but also like I say help people out. Like there's so many things.
Well,
you can
that
do
is a
with it.
big help if you're
Yeah.
helping people that have like really bad credit.
Yeah, like, and then plus you're helping the sellers out too, because this
Yeah.
is like, they don't want to have to waste all this time to pretty much have to wait or to go find people, market it, or, or anything like that. So people like me and myself, we just do that for them.
So what do you do with renters nowadays? Because now it's ridiculous where you have to make like 3 times as much as rent, and nobody does.
Yeah.
So
Nobody does.
how do you help them out in that situation? Where do we go to you from there? We just don't go to you.
To be honest, I would say if they're trying to rent, I would just hope, like, of course, yeah, go try to rent a house, like go straight to a seller and try to like rent to own or something like that. Talk that kind of structure out if you're gonna rent, because even the apartments these days are like you're paying for, say like again you gotta make this amount 3 times the amount or
Yeah.
something like that, and then still try to like rent out just a 2-bedroom, which
Right,
is crazy.
exactly.
Like which is in some of the neighborhoods out here that I'm seeing. It's not really worth it, but I'm like, if you think about it and just change your mind frame, like I want to own this, I want to have this, or even if I don't own it, I just want I don't want to be in an apartment,
So that's how you could do the lease with the option or the rent with the
Yeah.
option. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you're talking because like I did that and I loved it, and people out here don't seem to know. I mean, not many people have done this.
Yeah.
They're still out there,
Yes.
and you work with people that are willing to do it with their property that would
Definitely.
like to do that.
Definitely, yep. And then, like I said, I'm actually trying to start more of a podcast about it, because.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I would watch.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it, because it's not only like it's something that I didn't know about what I'm doing. I had no clue about this. I would say 4 or 5 years ago, and now I'm just like, whoa! It blows my mind how it can help you financially, but it's just like networking, talking to people, meeting new people, finding like new areas to go. It's like you have to search all that. You have to learn new markets and everything like that. What people like, and I'm like, it's a whole different type of world, like from what I'm used to. Like I said, I was more of a music production, audio engineering, that type of thing. I never thought I would step behind real estate or even film, or, anything like that at all. But it's all coming into play. But it's awesome.
What do you think about it here versus Arizona? What's the market like over there?
Oh
And
my
Texas? How does it compare?
Because for me, like what's different is like I came here right when the whole COVID hit, and it's just I've been trying to network with people or meet people, the right people. That's not like scammy. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but like
Do you
here,
feel there's more scamminess here than in Arizona?
like you run in, no, you have that everywhere, but it's just like you run into, like, say from the conferences and everything that I went to, you run into a lot of people that want to try to do it, but they're just like a chicken with their head cut off pretty much. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, instead of focusing on one thing or focusing on one person to work with, or a specific, gift that they might have, or, like, I'm better at cold calling, or I'm better at, like, doing this, I can work with you at doing that, because since you suck at that, like, it's not too
People
much.
are trying to take on too much and not knowing even where to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're not willing to actually delegate and, do things that they don't need to do. Like, they don't have to stress on a lot of stuff. But yeah, a lot of people come to that. I have myself too. I still do, but still, I'm gonna go at it. Yeah.
So the podcast. So what's the podcast going to be that you said you kind of want to put that into?
Oh, okay. So that one, that one for the new deal of investments. That's going to be our real estate wholesaling investing podcast, and that's going to try to focus on, because I'm still new to myself, like I said, day to day of what we do, like, because I know a lot of people, if people heard about it at all, I know people come to terms like, oh, I don't want to talk to people, I don't want to make cold calls, I don't want to do a lot of stuff like, that is really simple, but just gotta.
I know we all.
Yeah, like
we all know our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah,
so.
and then and that's the best thing, like, to know is like your strengths and your weaknesses, because if you hear, like, if you get more than two people and together on the same goal, it's like a mastermind. Like, I feel like it's a mastermind, so you can use that to benefit not only you but both of you. So if I can use that podcast to actually introduce, and I know they have it, like YouTube has like a whole bunch of video podcasts about real estate, but if I can use that for Fresno, at least for the Central Valley, to have people actually come in, meet, and even if we don't know anything, we can just put our heads together. I'm like, hey, you got a deal? You don't know how to work it? Let's help each other. And let's
love
get you
that.
Deal.
That's so great.
It's something that we can all benefit from.
So you're getting it together. So where's it going to be? Like, where can we see it when it comes out?
So on my YouTube channel, I have a YouTube channel called The New Vibe Productions right now, but I'm also gonna split off and make another one for just specifically real estate. So
that's in the works.
Yeah, that's in the works right now. But
so where can we see The New Vibe? Where can we
catch it? Yeah, New Vibe Productions on YouTube. I have it on my Instagram as well, New Vibe Productions, and it's spelled weird, so it's NOONOOVYBE Productions. The New Vibe. Yeah, it's an awkward one. It has to be different though.
So what are the new vibes? What are some of the things you go over right now in the current podcast?
So for the New Vibe right now, I just focus on like positivity, a lot of like positive stuff I try to push out there. Like, people try to motivate themselves, because we're still coming out the COVID, so it's a lot of still depression there. So I try to make people laugh, and then I work with a lot of other people that try to stay positive. Like, even like Drew, the producer of this, like it's a couple things that he is actually working on one of his shows that I'm actually just kind of spotlighting. Just put on there just to try to help the community know, like, at least Central Valley know, like, it's a lot of positive stuff in Fresno right now that's happening, but we have to take advantage of it and actually use it to our full advantage, like CMAC and people. Yeah.
So you kind of educate people on what it is and what is in front, and that's really, I love that you focus a lot on that, and I think daily, like me, you probably discover a lot of things that are actually cool going on here that you didn't. I mean, it's really kind of a daily discovery, right?
Crazy, yeah. Like, even this place that we're in, like CMAC, I did not know anything like this existed. I'm like,
we're in a hidden gem right now.
Yeah, right. I'm like, it's just, and it's so much stuff in Fresno that I didn't know really existed or really they would have out here. Like, even some of the, I guess we call them the hills, the mountains out here, like the lakes and the creeks and everything. Like, I'm just getting to know those. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, we do have them out there in Arizona, but some places just it's like way too hot to stay out. Not all the sun out there, so like, I'm like, you guys have this? Yeah, I'm like, enjoy this stuff. I'm like, you can't do this in Phoenix. Like, you can't do that, like, you can't do a lot of stuff like without something. I don't know, some like a weather issue out there for some reason, but yeah.
So on your Instagram, which you gave us, do you also go over some of the listings, like when you do get one of those properties that, do you list that on the Instagram, or are you good at that?
Oh, so I don't list them myself. Like, what I do, it's only up to, like, say if it's on the seller's end, then like that's when I would say market it. Like, well,
do you tell us when you have something kind of that
definitely.
You might be interested in?
Definitely. So
that's what I'm saying. List it kind of like so your like viewers or fans can be like, oh, okay, well, we might want it. Or people have like a little ear out.
That gives me an idea, though. Like, especially for my for the podcast, video podcast.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to like know, or some people want their second property and they just want to kind of like see. So you give us a little teaser.
And then, that's definitely what I want to do. I want to do because I have a couple videos not up yet, but I gotta edit them, like a couple showings that I went to, like a couple meetups. They didn't fall through, but it's still like the last two didn't fall through, but it's still like a good I guess a good structure to base off of, like going into a property, talking to the owner. You know, like even me, I was still like super nervous because I'm like, I don't know numbers like that. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go talk to my partners, but I just want to make sure I get everything right and don't make this guy feel uncomfortable. And it's just like, I think seeing that from like another person's point of view that's still new is gonna open the eyes for other people that's like still trying to get in or still
That
like,
is true.
want to try.
We kind of learn together. I like that.
Because nobody, especially I'm not gonna I don't look as professional. I don't think I don't come across as that. But yeah, so like I just want people to know like no matter who you are, you can still do it. Like no matter what age you are, you can still do it. And even if you have no clue of what it could happen, just do it. Like it's like just do it, try it long.
And I like that. I love it to go in there with like I don't know. And it's kind of like we learn together, and it's I absolutely love it. And that's what I kind of do with my show a lot too. I was like, you ask the questions that no one's ever known you before, so we're gonna try to see what's up. And it's the same thing going into that. You're like, well, these are just normal questions I have. So everybody watching is like, we have those questions, and you're asking them. So I love that.
Because that's it. And I'm not gonna try to. That's what I got from you too, is myself. Like I watched your show as well. Like, and that's what I'm a director. I do a lot of other things too. But it's like because of you and what you do, like it opened my eyes to like other things that's in Fresno. So you are definitely one of my people that I look to for that, and I appreciate that for you too.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me. It's a blessing. Definitely a blessing.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh we are distressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh I must confess dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.